This video will be the first national disclosure of the previously unknown, undisclosed, and unevidenced shocking truth about the mortgage crisis, how homeowners are unknowingly being taken advantage of and devastated, and how controlled deception has and continues to be used to perpetuate the intentionally pre-engineered and fraudulent system that is taking control of the residential lending industry. This video will disclose for the first time nationally the Endgame solution, what it is, how you may become educated to take advantage of it, how you may participate to fight for your legal and civil rights, and how all affected homeowners may seek civil redress and damages by finally having their day in federal court, and how to do that at no legal cost to the homeowner. I will not discuss the history of how this control fraud came into existence. That subject does not directly contribute to the solution. We can discuss history at length some other time. My goal is to disseminate as much factual and evidenced information as possible in the time we have for the benefit of the listeners. I will make summary statements of evidenced fact. 4 years and thousands of man-hours have been spent discovering and collecting the over 11,000 pages of evidence in our possession. My statements today are based upon what we have learned and can support with those 11,000 pages of evidence. The mortgage crisis is the largest generational control fraud in the history of the world. Factually, this mortgage control fraud qualifies as the largest spiritual war of our time, and it is our responsibility to fight this kind of evil and tyranny where we find it. This crisis has resulted in the leveraged and gambled worldwide sale of over $500 trillion worth of mortgage-backed securities that represent the destroyed chains of title and the destruction of the home values of well over 31 million American homeowners. This number may likely prove to be much larger if the database records from certain identified sources are obtained as a result of discovery authorized by the federal court orders. Most homeowners are unaware of a 1997 Delaware-formed corporation called Mortgage Electronic Registry Systems Incorporated and is referred to as MERS. This corporation is at the very heart of the control fraud. MERS was engineered and is owned by, as examples, the largest mortgage banks, government-sponsored entities such as Fannie Mae, the American Land Title Association, and the Mortgage Bankers Association. These companies control the operation of MERS for their own benefit through its board of directors. A number of these board members are employees of the stockholders that own MERS. MERS and its parent company, MERS Corp. Incorporated, have over 70 million mortgages on their electronic and paperless databases. R.K. Arnold, the past and simultaneous president and CEO of MERS Corp. Inc., and MERS, disclosed in his testimony to the U.S. House and Senate committees that both companies have a total of between 50 and 60 employees. With 60 employees, that means that each employee could be responsible for over 1 million mortgages in some manner. The problem with this picture is self-evident. MERS was expressly designed and established for the purposes of electronically destroying original mortgage documents required by law to be recorded and safely protected during the term of the mortgage for the protection of the homeowner. Turn mortgage notes into easily sellable and untraceable bearer paper, which is illegal in this country. Destroy and corrupt each state's statutorily required real property filing systems that have existed and been relied upon for hundreds of years. Provide for the light-speed securitization and multiple sales of a homeowner's mortgage without the homeowner being aware that these destructive sales, and without giving the homeowner any way of discovering the facts pertinent to these sales, generate so much confusion, conflict, and destruction of legal due process and the rule of law that the individual homeowner would have no probable basis of becoming a legal threat to MERS and its MERS members' banks. MERS has consisted, at its peak, of more than 5,000 dues and fee-paying members that represent most all mortgage banks and lenders in the country. Most residential mortgages closed since 1997 are termed MERS mortgages. These mortgages were structured by MERS and were required by MERS to be used uniformly by all MERS members in all states. MERS has never registered in the various states such that they could legally conduct business while acting as mortgage bankers or lenders. MERS has never nationally registered with the Nationwide Mortgage Licensing System and Registry NMLS as required by federal law. Most homeowners neither know of MERS nor about the likely existence of MERS involvement in their mortgage. The first step in determining if you have a MERS mortgage is to look at the area of page 3 in section E of your deed of trust. You should find in this area the disclosure that your mortgage is a MERS mortgage and the authority and the control over your mortgage that MERS is attempting to exercise. If you don't see a MERS disclosure section in your mortgage, it does not mean that you do not have a MERS mortgage. As discovered in the MERS rules, an initially closed independent mortgage can easily be turned into a MERS mortgage and registered on the MERS system. In either case, the homeowner's mortgage has very likely been securitized and sold over and over again. MERS rules require and evidence show that most all MERS mortgages were initially recorded in the county recorder's office. Transfers or assignments of the homeowner's mortgage subsequent to this initial filing have been done fraudulently, violate the law, and do not follow state filing requirements to protect the integrity and value of the deed and chain of title to the property. This first assignment is the instant point at which the chain of title is first destroyed and therefore becomes clouded. When the county records are analyzed, we find that numerous transfers follow close on the heels of the first transfer or assignment after the closing. We have seen thousands of records showing more than 6 transfers in as little as 60 days. Each of these transfers represents an additional securitized sale of the same mortgage to another buyer for the purpose of making the financial institutions involved huge profits over and over again on the same mortgage. This is exactly how over $500 trillion worth of mortgage-backed securities were generated out of thin air and sold to unknowing buyers worldwide since 1997. I won't get into technical detail about the securitization process now. I will simply say that the securitization and multiple sales of the homeowner's mortgage was the key financial motivation for the illegal, unethical, and financial fraud that has ever taken place. Additionally, this fraud could not have been carried out without the destroyed notes first being turned into bearer paper. Evidence shows that government-sponsored enterprises such as Fannie Mae have purchased from MERS the great majority of the mortgages closed in this country since 1997. Incontrovertible evidence has been obtained directly from Fannie Mae's rule book, which states that Fannie Mae will not purchase and acquire mortgages from MERS unless the note is endorsed in blank, thereby turning the note into bearer paper. Fannie Mae is currently in bankruptcy. Fannie Mae's bankruptcy conservator is the Federal Housing Finance Agency, or FHFA. The FHFA is an independent federal agency created by the merger of the Federal Housing Finance Board, FHFB, Office of Federal Housing Enterprise Oversight, OFHEO, and the Department of Housing and Urban Development Sponsored Enterprise Mission Team. On September 2, 2011, the FHFA filed lawsuits against at least 17 of the most commonly known major banks and lenders, claiming that the banks individually and collectively lied, colluded, and misrepresented the creditworthiness and quality of mortgage loans that it had been securitized and sold as mortgage-backed securities. Mr. Beau Biden, son of U.S. Vice President Joe Biden and Attorney General for the state of Delaware, has recently filed a Delaware state suit against MERS as a corporation organized in his own state based in whole or in part on the points we have previously addressed. Rocket science does not have to be used to understand the picture that comes clear when you become aware of the facts we have just disclosed.